Hi, I'm Beau Keyte. I'm creating some new training material that's designed to help your organizations become more adaptable in changing market conditions. I've branded these mini courses short stops, and they're really a compilation of 6 insights that I've had over the last 10 years of working with my clients. Now I'd like to share them with you. Now, these videos, the teaching portion is only about 10 minutes long, but has a front end with an introduction, like right now, and a back end that's an assignment. The assignment is just as important as the video because I'm asking you to do something once you've learned something. And I hope that you're going to go through 6 learn do cycles in such a way that it can move your organizations forward. These are designed to have you start as soon as you finish watching the video without any help from me. However, if you'd like some help, call me. But before you call, please just try it. Just try it. You'll be amazed at how far you can go on your own. So good luck. I hope this is helpful. Let's get started. Insight number 1 is titled The 4 Bedrock Questions You Should Be Asking. And I emphasize should be because we rarely do. When we have a big issue, it could be a mess up in production, it could be very unhappy customers, or it could be margins that are eroding that we didn't expect. We all get in a room, we give ourselves about 2 precious minutes to solve the problem. I call this jumping to solutions because we jump so fast, we don't understand what's going on, and we rarely solve the problem. So I'd like to suggest a more deliberate strategy, a Sherlock Holmes strategy. When Sherlock Holmes, at the beginning of the book or the beginning of the movie, hears about a problem, it takes about 2 minutes to hear about it. He dons his hat, he grabs his pipe and his magnifying glass, and he leaves his apartment to learn more. It takes almost the whole movie or the whole book to understand what's going on, but Sherlock usually gets the guy. The big question for us is, do we get the guy when we jump to solutions? I think not. So let's get more deliberate. Let's slow down and understand what's really going on so we can solve the issues once and for all. So here are 4 questions to help you slow down. What do you actually know and how do you know it? What do you need to know and how can you learn it? Let me show you how to set this up. Let's start off with a 2 by 2. And the first thing we find is data, raw data that might be meaningful, but we have to present it in a way that others understand so we can glean facts. Facts are derived from the data, but usually that's not enough. We still need to know more. So what other facts are missing, but might be important to understand so we know what's really going on and can solve the problem. And then if we know what facts we need, how will we learn it? How do we find the data? How do we create the data? Who do we need to talk to, to clarify what's really going on? So that's as simple as the tool gets. Let me show you a demonstration of it. I have a client in Western Michigan who wants to reduce the falls of patients inside hospitals. It's a hospital client. So I went to visit the director of quality, and she had a PowerPoint presentation to share with me. The first slide was this. You can't read it, but it's a trend line. And she talked about it for a while. I said, well, this is very interesting. What is this telling us? And she said, oh, it's just telling us that our patient falls are decreasing. Great. I wrote that up on the board. Then she presented this pie chart. And she's talking about the pie chart for a while. I said, what's 1 or 2 things you really want to grab out of that pie chart? This is where this pie chart represents where patients fall, the location. And she said, well, most falls occur in rehab, which is the blue-purple slice of the pie. Then she presented me with a stacked bar chart. And this dissects the falls into a very specific category in the bottom. The burgundy red are falls that are called lowered to the ground. And these occur usually in rehab where they're expecting the patient to fall. And they had someone there to catch them so they don't get hurt. So once again, I said, what have you learned from this? And she said, oh, 25% of the falls are lower to the ground. That's good. I don't need to worry about those. We expect those. So I wrote this one on the board too. And then she showed me yet another slide. This is the last one that dissects the falls differently once again. And this shows injuries on the bottom. The blue purple color on the bottom is injuries. And I said, what's this telling us? She said, 20% of the falls incur injuries. Those are the ones I want to focus on. I said, wonderful. This took about half an hour. And then I said, is this enough to really solve the problem for you? Do you know enough to solve the problem? And she thought about it. No one had ever asked her that before. So after a while, she said, well, I have a chart here that shows where the injuries occur, and I have a pie chart that shows the location of falls in general, but I haven't kind of put them together to understand where do falls with injury occur. I don't know that. And I also don't know a very specific type of fall called, well, not called, but they're fractures and bleeds. The fractures and bleeds are what the ones I want to solve tomorrow. I could live with bruises for a while, but fractures and bleeds are pretty bad. I said, great. How should you learn it? And she thought about it and said, well, there's a report we don't use anymore, a historical occurrence report that lists injuries and falls by department. I can get that and go through it and then understand how to correlate those two pieces. I said, that's really good. Let's go. And then she said, well, there's something else we need to learn, and that's the correlation of something that's really important to us. When we admit patients to the hospital, we do a fall risk assessment for everybody. And that really is a protocol that establishes whether or not a patient is at high risk for falling. But I have no idea if there's any correlation between the patients who really fall and those that are assessed at high risk of falling. And I should know that. And the only way to know it is to go to chart reviews. The assessment form is just stuck inside the chart and ignored most of the time. So I have to look at this and I have to find those who have falls and those who were assigned a high risk of falling and see if there's a correlation. That'd be really good to know. Great. And then finally, she said, we put a program together a few years ago called Falling Star. Falling Star was really set up to help what we would call repeat offenders. They're old or frail people who are frequently admitted to the hospital and they frequently fall. So we put a program together to stem that. Unfortunately, we never measured. We have no idea if things got better or not. And I sure would like to know what worked and what didn't. And the only way I can learn it is go talk to people. I have to go talk to the people who are caring for those patients, do a chart review, and see what's really going on. And at the end of this, I said, this sounds really good. My basic question to you is whether or not you'll be in a better position to understand and solve problems regarding patient falls once you answer these questions. And she said, I think so. I'll find out as I learn, which is wonderful because she's deliberate. She's trying to define a problem well. And a problem well defined is a problem half solved. Now, about your first effort. With my teams, I would say almost 100% of the time, when they start to put their 2x2 together, they have lots of stuff, lots of facts in the top left corner and lots of stuff in the top right corner, but no data. They're just words. So, my thoughts to you is that if you don't have data, you don't have facts. They're only opinions. They might be facts, but you don't know. So you have to take everything from the top column, or top row rather, and push it down to the bottom row. There are things you need to learn. So please, please, please be careful about what you put in the top left corner. You have to be able to substantiate it. Finally, qualitative data is infinitely better than no data at all. So, with that, let's close this out. Jumping to solutions is common. We all do it. We've all been trained on it. We're really good at it, but it's not effective. What we need to do is understand the real problem at hand and be deliberate. It takes more time, but the great thing about it is it develops critical thinking inside your organization, which is really important because that's how we build adaptability into our organizations. So with that, let's give you an assignment. I'd like you to take a big problem. Everyone watching this, take a different big problem. Start the 2x2 process with a couple of other people inside the problem. It's probably going to be cross-functional. It's a big problem. Gather some data. Populate all four corners. Then develop questions and bring them along with your own work to your office hour. And here's where I want to talk about office hours. This is what I do for my clients. I have office hours on Friday. You need your own office hours because what this does is it sets an expectation and a cadence for progress. So you come together, it could be a huddle, it could be a formal meeting, and you share what you've been doing and learn from each other. You collaborate, you find different ways to find data that maybe you didn't know about and somebody else has found this out. It's always great to share. And this is how you learn and move forward together. So please set this up. Take the assignment, establish a cadence for meeting, meet and move forward. Good luck. Now, I also have a quick um, commercial for the next one. Insight number 2 is finding hidden capacity, one of my favorite topics. And I have a hint for you. It's right in front of you. So until next time, good luck. I hope this has been helpful.